Hello, sixth graders. It's me, Mrs. James. I'm here to show you something really cool, which is how to write your race paragraph. But first things first, most importantly, I want you to meet my dear friend. This is Hedwig. And Hedwig is my friend, and all the students loved her last year, and she does bite. So you have to be very nice and careful with her. She's very excited because a student today has on pants that have her on them because she's so tough. But she does bite, so you have to be very nice to her. All right. First things first, let's get started. So you just read the story about Ainsley and about what she didn't see. We are going to practice together and take a look at question. We're going to look at question 4. So get to question 4, and it asks this question: how do Ainsley's classmates affect the way she feels about herself? Use details from the story to support your answer. Let's do it. Hold tight, please. Let me share my screen. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to scream. Let's see. Share. Work. Ta-da! And it did. Okay. Now what we're going to do together is we are going to work on writing this answer. So let's look at what we have to do. Pretend that you can see there on the board. You know what's there, right? Race. R-A-C-E. Pretend that you can see it, right? You see it, right? Look, right there. Race. Look over that way. That way. Wait, you guys are looking at me right here, so it's that way. Yeah, to the back. Race. So you're looking at race. We're going to restate this question. It says, how do Ainsley's classmate affect the way she feels about herself? All right, let's do it. Because they are haters. Oh, wait, I just made a big mistake. I just made a big mistake. What's the mistake that I made? The first mistake that I made is using that really bad word. I just used a cuss word in English class because we don't start a sentence with because. We are better than that. We are greater than that. That's beneath us. We don't start with because. Get that out of here. Get this whole sentence out of here. Wait, get this whole sentence out of here. Let's try that again. Wait, hold on, try it again. Yeah, get that out of here. That's not going to work for us. We have to do what first? Restate. How do Ainsley's classmates affect the way she feels about herself? How are we going to start that off, sixth graders? How are we going to start it off? Ainsley's classmates affect how she feels about herself because. We're not starting with because. We can use the word if there's words around it, but we're not starting with because. Ainsley's classmate affect how she feels about herself because guess what? If I didn't even read the story, I could still restate because I'm just using the question. All right. So now what's the answer? We have to think about how do Ainsley's classmates affect the way she feels about herself? And we know from looking back into the story, because we're going to always look back into the story, we know from looking back in the story that they made fun of her shoes. There were two of them against one. They called her names. They acted like it was a joke, but it really wasn't. And so they made her, by making fun of her shoes, they made her feel bad about herself. So let's see. Let's write this down. Ainsley's classmates affect how she feels about herself because they made fun of her. And I'm going to explain that out a little bit more because I'm not a fifth grader anymore. Oh, no, no, no. I'm not a fifth grader. I am a sixth grader. So I'm going to write a little bit more than what I would normally write. Ainsley's classmates affect how she feels about herself because they made fun of her. Let's explain that out a little bit more. The girls the girls laughed at her Asia Wilson's. How about I'm going to go back here though, and I'm going to put the girls laughed at her bright yellow Asia Wilson's. And I don't care what anybody says, those Asia Wilson's are cute. They're not bright yellow, but she should do a bright yellow one, don't you think? And I'm thinking about getting me some bright yellow Adidas. Remember, Reagan, we talked about this earlier. Okay, Miss James, you're getting off track. Get back on track. Get back on track. Okay. Anyway, Now it says use details from the story to support your answer. So what I'm going to now do is if we look over here at RAC, wait, it's to the back. Pretend like I'm pointing to the back. RAC is citing evidence. So where do I get my evidence from, sixth graders? The text. I get my evidence from the text. So if I look at the text, I'm looking at the paragraph where it says, she says, get out. Little Nadia says, get out. And Dipshika says, I know she is not wearing those bumblebee shoes. And Big Bird, if you don't get on out of here, they cackled. So what can I put here? Cite textual evidence. So here's my key word, my famous, beautiful words for key evidence. I know this because in the text it says, that's how we're going to start our sentences there. Or the text says, or in the text it says. So we're going to say, I know this because in the text it says that Nadia, who called her Big Bird? Hold on. Oh, I think that was not. So I don't know if it was Nadia or Dipshika. So we're going to say that the girls called her Big Bird and laughed at her and laughed in her face. All right, so now we're going to go to explain. And I know we haven't really talked a lot about explain, but we're going to talk about it now. Now we explain what we just wrote. And I like to start explain with this means. So it says explain. This means, or this, let's say this shows. This shows that them laughing at her made her feel bad about herself. If you wanted to add to, I think I'm going to add this other thing in there. Now, this is only for like my elite people. This is when you are really super smart, when you are really cooking, you are really killing this, and you decide, I want to add one more thought. I love this. King yesterday, I wish you guys could have seen King's writing yesterday. It was all the way, it was on fire, fire, fire. This is what King would add. King would add this. In the story, it shows that they were laughing at her, made her feel bad about herself. In the story, later, no, let's say later in the story, instead in the story later. Later in the story, Ainsley stopped dressing up, even though she liked the clothes. She also started missing shots in basketball. And so let's read the question again just to make sure we didn't miss anything. That's a key thing, is read the question. How do Ainsley's classmates use details from the story to support your answer? Did I do that? Okay, now I'm going to read it to myself. Ainsley's classmates affect how she feels about herself because they made fun of her. The girls laughed at her bright yellow Asia Wilsons. I know this because in the text it says that the girls called her Big Bird and laughed in her face. This shows them that laughing made her feel bad about herself. Later in the story, Ainsley stopped dressing up even though she liked clothes. She also started missing shots in basketball. You know what? There's one other thought I want to put in here. It says that it hurt her and that it stung. The laughter hurt and it stung. I've got to put that in there somewhere. Where would that go? Let's see. It made fun of her bright yellow Asia Wilsons. So I'm going to say right here, this really hurt her. The girls caught her face, laughing made her feel bad about herself. I'm going to say, and the text says it hurt her. We could add that in if we want, or we'll leave it out. Okay, later in the story. So this is great. This is a perfect answer. So look at your answer, look at what you have, see if you can make it any better before you turn it in, and then we will go from there. Okay, I'm going to stop yapping, sixth graders, and I will talk with you soon. Goodbye. Wait, I don't know how to turn it off, so just hold on, everybody. Just pretend like it's off.